Back with me, also out front, Democratic strategist Basil Smikle and Republican strategist Joe Pinion. So thanks very much to all of you. So let me just start with you, Ryan. It's not a private matter anymore. It's obviously this will be, we'll see what comes out, but this is now very much in the public sphere. How worried should Hunter Biden be? He went from thinking he had a deal that was going to prohibit any future prosecution for basically anything to a special counsel with basically unlimited remit.
That's exactly right. I think his situation is much worse than it is today than when he went into that courtroom thinking that they were about to solidify their deal. And thinking that that deal meant, as you just described it, that he'd have immunity from any other kinds of crimes that might have been under investigation. Now we have a special counsel who has an unlimited remit. Special counsels, independent counsels in the past can take on a life of their own. He has a remit across the entire country where he is looking to bring charges. And there's a special wording in the court filing by the new special counsel where he says, we're not just necessarily going to bring the tax misdemeanor charges, we might bring other charges. So now Hunter Biden is probably, or very possibly, looking at down the barrel of felony tax crimes that will be charged in, let's say, California and D.C. That's the situation that he's in today.
All right, bad. Now, Joe, Kara mentioned the Republican Party doesn't say. You would think they get a special counsel for Hunter Biden and go, all right, giddy up, we won. Okay, Mike Pence did say that. He's happy David Weiss is special counsel. So here's what he said.
I think it's about time that we saw the appointment of a special counsel to get to the bottom of not only what Hunter Biden was doing, but what the Biden family was doing. The American people deserve answers, and I welcome the appointment.
Okay, so that's kind of what you'd expect. Except, okay, hold on, let me just, except for this Trump-appointed special counsel, Tim Scott, who's running for president. This special counsel can't be trusted. House Oversight Chairman Comer, part of the Justice Department's efforts to attempt a Biden family cover-up. Jim Jordan, David Weiss can't be trusted. This is an attempt to whitewash the Biden family's corruption. So they don't care that this special counsel is a Trump appointee. They just think this is bad.
Well, so there's a few things here.
Yeah.
The old saying, it's not what you do, it's when you do it. There's also the old saying that it takes a lifetime to build up a reputation, only a day to destroy it. And so if you look at it from the broad context of saying, even going back to February when Jim Jordan had written to Merrick Garland asking for a special counselor and got no response, yes, Republicans have long been waiting for this day when there would be a broader berth to try to figure out what was going on, not just with Hunter, but his associates. The other issue is, again, what transpired in that courtroom, which I think cannot be underestimated, where you had Judge Norica asking, is there any precedent for such a wide level of disgrace to be given for some type of diversion program? And the response from, again, Leo Wise, not to be confused with actual Prosecutor Weiss, was no, there wasn't. So
yeah.
I do think that there are going to be real questions as to whether there was a handshake deal or a wink-wink, nod-nod deal between prosecution and Hunter Biden. And certainly you cannot expect that the former prosecutor, now special counselor, is going to be asking his own people that question. That's why Republicans are probably asking for somebody from the outside.
And I understand the point, Basil. It is amazing, though, that even on something like this, the Republican Party is at its own throat. Never mind that this is a bad development for Biden himself, for the president.
So in the non-Pence responses to this, I guess they're somewhat consistent. They didn't like the prosecutor before. They're not going to like him with a new title, right? So in that way,
although, as Ryan was pointing out, if you fired the guy, then you're firing the Trump-appointed guy. So then you're really, I mean, there really was not a win on this one.
That's exactly right. It's just a hard to win situation. But look, and it's an interesting point. At this point, right, if you hear the term special counsel, that just raises flags. It just does. And, going back to old adages, if you're explaining, you're losing. And the challenge for Democrats going forward is to find a way to explain that this is the president's son, it's not the president. The president himself can do it only to that point and no more, for fear that he loses, that he goes down a rabbit hole. And but ultimately, and I think this is the silver lining in all of this, Joe Biden is more popular now than Barack Obama was at this time in his presidency. And so the people are with the president. The problem, again, is the more that he and the Democrats have to address this issue and explain away what the special counsel means, it becomes a.
By the way, I give you credit for finding that analogy to Obama, because obviously the approval ratings for Biden are bad. So if you're saying Obama's were worse.
Among Democrats, I should say.
Well, but I think even to that point, right, quickly, if you look at, this kind of juxtaposition between, even Obama and Biden, Biden has had this kind of my word is stronger than oak thing. Now, when you look at the fact that you're going to be playing that debate stage tape where he says that my son made no money from China, I made no money from China, the only person made money from China on this stage is Donald Trump, and yet Hunter Biden's gone into a courtroom and pierced that bubble. There are real questions that I think are going to now force people to move beyond this. We'll take him at his word.
Okay, now to this point, I want to get to that line that I read, right? I want to read it again. The special counsel is authorized to conduct the ongoing investigation as well as any matters that arose from that investigation or may arise from the special counsel's investigation. So on this, you are going to get to why was the former vice president on the phone calls at all with Hunter Biden? What did he know? Who are the Bidens who got money from whom? I mean, all of this is now going to be truly run all the way down. So when Basil says the president had nothing to do with it, okay, maybe so, maybe not, but we are going to, there's going to be a lot of coverage of that.
I think there's going to be a lot of coverage. At some level, the investigation is so old and has been so baked that you would think that they had a lot of that information before.
You would think that they have it.
That's right.
And as if that hasn't been run down.
That's right. And as a U.S. attorney with control over that investigation, they could follow any lead, and he should have followed any lead. If there was some lead that he didn't follow then he'll now follow as special counsel, that would be a problem.
Yeah.
But we don't know what's going on in terms of what does the Attorney General mean when he means that the case or the investigation has reached a certain stage? What did Mr. Weiss mean when he said there were still ongoing investigations?
Right.
And then it goes right back to what you just described. So does it include other members of the Biden family, for example?
Right, and we just don't know, Basil.
And we just don't know. And that is where, and if you try to center the voter in this conversation, the voter, again, when they hear this term, they're like, what else is going on? What else is out there? Do they distinguish between special counsel and special prosecutor?
No.
Like Jackson, they're not going to.
I'm just going to go ahead and say no.
They're not going to. And that's why I go back to the point. The president can't go in and explain to the country the details of this investigation. But someone might have to, because the way this lands to a voter, they're thinking this is bigger than it might well be.
Right.
And I think, again, to that point, if you're looking at what's happening here with this explaining, how do you explain the fact that the president said time and time again, I have no idea what's going on with my son or his business or China, and now again, from the letter to, again, what's going on in that courtroom, it seems that might be called into question.
All right. Well, thank you all very much. I appreciate it.